Menahot Daf Nun Bet Amud Aleph Tanur Banan. 5 lines down. Har Alam Shadavar Sibur Usire Avodat Kochavim. Money that was used to pay for the Qurban if Bedin made a mistake and people sinned with that Avera, or goats that were used for the of Bnei Israel that Avodah Zarah. But Tehilam Magbina, we make a new collection from Bnei Israel. The very that's going to be Rishon Mer. Mitrumat Hadeshkam Behen Bayin. They take that from the treasury of the Bet Hamikdash. 1 second, but we have the opposite opinions. Let's say the opposite. Rabbi Shimon Rabbi Yehuda. The Gemara says, "Hi, minayu achrita." Which one came second? Meaning, which one is the second braita, which shows us that they retracted, and the second one is usually the correct one. Whereas the first one that we mentioned, that Rabbi Shimon held that it comes from the Bet Hamikdash treasury. It was taught second, and therefore we go like that one. Because we know that Rabbi Shimon is worried about negligence. And therefore, we don't want people to be, we wouldn't want Bnei Israel to pay for it from the community. Right? Because earlier we said in the Mishnah that when Betin saw that people were being negligent, Betin took care of it. So we see over here as well, same thing. Gemara says, I feel with the Braita, no, even the second Braita would make sense. When was Rabbi Shimon worried about negligence? When there's no kapara. But over here, in our case, right, so the first case, the other case of Pshia we worried about was the Kohen Gadol. Maybe over there they don't care about negligence. But over here, maybe we're worried about negligence because this is just a case we need kapara for Avodah Zarah or Palim Davar. Maybe that's why. What's the psak? מעלי רבד זוטרי רבשי תשמש בין פרוטטן בצז את קורבני לחמים לאישרי אני חייתי שמרו להקדים מועדו לרבות פעם תשדבר וסעירי בעבור חשובים שבעין מתרומת השקה דיבר בשמון מסיר בשמון הולט נספרייתה from a pasuk. This must be the primary halacha, and therefore we see that the first braita was written second. Ushtima hayita kreva mentioned in Mishnah that if the Kohen Gadol died and no one was appointed, you bring a full isarot and you don't split it in half. That means you bring a hole in the morning and a whole afternoon. Maybe the hole in the morning and nothing in the afternoon. The eighth Kohen brought the Havitin of the Kohen Gadol to the Ram of the Mizbeach. Okay, this is just talking about the Tamid service. If it's true that it was that the Havitin can be suspended in the afternoon if there's no Kohen Gadol, there will never be an eighth guy in those situations. Meaning in the case, the Met Kohen Gadol, the Kohen Gadol with no replacement. Since it sounds like there is always an eighth guy, maybe it doesn't apply. The Gemara says not proof. These foolish Babylonians. Since they live in a dark land, they don't know halacha. They don't know well. In that Mishnah also mentioned the seventh Kohen who's offering the fine flour, the mincha, ninth Kohen offering wine for the mincha. They were never suspended, but it's not true. You bring it at nighttime. Tomorrow. What happened? We're not mentioning it in the order. If it's not used, it's not used. So my case, if there is a Kohen Gadol, right? So yes, if there's no Kohen Gadol, then yes, you don't do it. But why does it mention Mishnah? So in my case, if all the stars line up and there is a Kohen Gadol and everything is hunky dory, then yes, the eighth Kohen will bring the Chavitin. They go back to Rava and said, "Bring your comedy foolish." Mari said, "Maybe we should tell Amri Kamayo." Mitivatan Amri Kamayo. Says they only mention our bad stuff, but they don't mention our good. He says they only hear about the bad stuff that we say, but they never hear about the good things we say. That's why they don't think well of us. Mahamar Rava says, "Hani Nameti Utani." The fact that I would think that you'd bring a holy Saron from the morning and afternoon is actually a good reason. Amar Klabas says, "Salat min hatamid, harehik lechak min hatamidin like min hatamid." Just like the min hatamid, the morning and afternoon never spend it, so do the havitin as well. Ma'avada, what does psak? Learn Hamra Yitzhak Shema Tashma bin Fruit. It says, "Shlema shahrit shlema ben abayim." The holy Saron for the morning and a hole in the evening. Rabbi Yochanan, Pligi bara baba since I very Yochanan. Abba Yosef ben Stoyamer, he used to say, "Mafrish lash nekimasim shalvana." The Kohen Gadol would separate two kamatzin of levana, kometz shachrit, the kometz ganabayim, one kometz of levana for the morning havitin, and one kometz of levana for the afternoon havitin. Rabbanan Chaim say no. Mafresh la kometz hachad, you separate one. Hatzi kometz shachrit, hatzi kometz ganabayim means do half and half. Mike Malik was my pocket. Abba Yossi ben Tzuem, Savar, he held, Lo Ashkan Hazikum is the Karev. I never found that you brought a half. Ramon Safri, Lo Ashkan is surrounded by each naked. I never found one is surrounded that needed to Kamasin. But Riachan, the question, Kong Adosh Med Vlomina Hardav, Kong Adol that died with no replacement, the Ranach Balu the Barato, Kong Tachamim who say that generally do a half is run for half a comet. Do you double the Levana over here since he's bringing a whole? Or not? Now we're gonna explain it. Me and Miriam Mitoch blood we said since the flour is doubled because we don't split it, therefore the levanon should be doubled. Or only in the where the Torah revealed that it should be doubled, it's done. Over here where it was not mentioned you doubled, you don't double the levanon. Vishem regarding the oil, Ben what do they each hold regarding the oil? Do we double that as well? There are five kimatzin. Yani five times where the Kohen Gadol does the komets, and it never mentions the Levana of the Kohen Gadol because it's not full. Similarly, the Marzah Mimita, it's true that it's a full komet. Zimin the Mishkah Halashiva should be seven. Must be it's not full. The Marzah says, look, tell you no. About a case, it's not mentioning unusual cases the Kohen Gadol, right? Like we said earlier. It's either Papa Kamala Hashmata, he was just saying it. Amal that it says, Bara Hashmata Papa, Hama Allah, Komet being out, the Ila have a Ketani. But in the case of one over the comments of flour, outside of Beit Dash is the case of if, yani in the case of a non-frequent case, and we still mention it. How does that make sense if we say we don't mention uncommon cases? The Gemara says, "My avila was abzak, Mar bin Achmar Yisak, Tashma bring a proof." Tanbert says, "Kohen Gadol shemev lo menu ahartatav." The Kohen Gadol without any replacement. Shalema shachrit shema ben abayim. You bring a whole in the morning, whole in the afternoon. Mafresh la shnei kimatzin. You separate two kimatzin. Komet shachrit v'komet ben abayim. Komet in the morning, komet in the afternoon. Mafresh la shalosh lugin. You separate three lugin of oil. Logo mechsav shachrit, logo mechsav ben abayim. Half lug for the morning, one and a half lugin for the afternoon. Mani who's according to? Ilan ran to Hamim. Levana is doubled, but the oil is not doubled. Maishna Levana Tadach, but Maishna Levana Levana. How can we double Levana, but not the oil? The Lava 7 stay up to Kuna on your side. Damar Habitek Kohen Gadol, but Almash Nekazina, he says that, Baya, he says even the regular Kohen Gadol Habitim always had two Kimatzin of Levana. Levana Loch, below Shabbat Lochba. Levana is not doubled, the oil is not doubled. So we see the question regarding oil is definitely not no problem according to Abba Yosef because he hasn't holds doubled. Since the oil according to Abba and Yosef is not doubled, the oil and Levana according to Chaim also is not doubled. Rabbi Yochanan, halacha ka'Abba ben Yosef ben Sa'id, halacha is according to him that when the Kohen was alive, you offer a whole komets for the morning and a whole komets in the afternoon. Umi Rabbi Yochanan, is that the truth? And previously in other times, we had a question: why do we give a psak in cases of Mashiach? Right? We don't need a psak about the korban. Just for ask this question because we've had this prior in Zivahim and other Masechtot, and we say to understand, to learn tzchar. Rabbi Yochanan really hold that halacha is according to Abi Yosef. Rabbi Yochanan, halacha kistam mishnah, halacha is according to an honest mishnah. Utanam mishnah says hamisha kamatzin is five. Seemingly, Hachamim not Rabbi Yosef said. The Gemara says Amro anenu ba'ali b'Rabbi Yochanan. So disagreement amongst Amarim what Rabbi Yochanan said, and therefore we're quoting halacha is according to Abi Yosef is only according to one opinion. Hadran halacha techelet, hadran halacha techelet, hadran halacha techelet. Kol haminachot ba'ot masa nu perek. All korban minachas that are brought as matzah, except for the chametz bread of the tudah, right? There's four different types of bread, 10 each for the tudah. Some of them are chametz. And there's sh'elechem, which is regular bread. She'en ba'ato chametz, that's chametz. Rabbi Meir says, "Asa'or bodei lahem mitochad." Someone removes the sourdough part of the tudah and sh'elechem, and then you let it become chametz. You measure the flour, take out a little bit, mix it with water, and then use that to make it leavened. Rabbi Zamir says, that's not the best way to do it. It's not going to become well leavened. Or rather, you bring the yeast, then you put it into an empty measuring vessel, then you fill it up with flour. That way the dough will become fully leavened without going overboard of the measurements. All right, that's what we're worried about. Amir Hamim said, and that's the case, it'll either be too much, too little. Right? It's not going to be exact. Okay, Gemara. Ba minei Rabbi Perida ben Rabbi Ami has a question. Minayin lechol menachot shehen ba'ot hametza. How do you know that all menachas are matzah? Minayin, how you know this? Pasuk says the ktiba, the ktiba, ktiba mentions lo ktiba. So it mentions where menacha needs matzah, it's written lo ktiba, ktiba, and even when it's not required, it also mentions that you don't need it. הפסוק says, זאת תורת המנחה הקרב אותה בני אהרון לפני השם אל פני המזבח. והנותרת ממנה יאכלו אהרון ברעב, מצות תאכל. Boom, in the matzah. What's the question? Marley says, mitzvah lo kami ba'alei. I'm not asking if you need a mitzvah. Ki kami ba'alei, my question, na'akev, is it required? Meaning, is it, I should have matzah, but if it's not, it's okay? Or is it required? Marley says, la'akev na'akev, but it says clearly, lo te'afeh hametz, you should not bake hametz. Ela matzah must be matzah. Why need you repeat it? Maskit Rav Hizdav Be'ema. Now the pasuk may be saying Lo te'afeh hametz ela seor. Maybe you can have hametz, but it could be semi-leavened bread. So no proof that you need hametz. Masa. Seor mehman. Who's it according to? Either be meir l'rida. Masa ben Ali. According to him, he holds that dough with matzah completely. He doesn't hold that incomplete is incomplete. Incomplete is matzah according to him. Either bida lo bimer v'kan bida chametz na'ay he holds actual chametz, so there is no middle ground. Either bimer lo bimer v'kan meir kon meir midlake alei chametz, so since he gets malkut for eating it, then he holds chametz. A little bida, either according to bida for bida who holds that seor is neither. According to him, the question is it okay to have seor instead of matzah? Maski Sarah Nacham by Tzak, Emma Lo Te'afeh Hametz El Halut. Maybe when it says don't have hametz, maybe it could be scalded in hot water. It's like cooked, so it won't become leavened. Mar says Halut Mahani, what's considered scalding? Revicha. It's like a certain type of way of making the minha. They mix it with oil, then dip it into boiling hot water. Id ikar revicha. If we're talking about mincha, that is needs revicha, ktiba revicha mentions revicha. How ktiba revicha? We did not read it. Be'ema, ktiba revicha mitzvat mericha. Maybe no. When it says revicha, you need to do the boiling water gas. That's when you required. But lo ktiba revicha was not written. Iba revicha lati, iba masalati. Either you can have it as that, or you can have it as matzah. Maskis Rabbi Bagina has a question. Be'ema, lo te'afeh hametz, don't have hametz. Lemekam gavra b'lah ba'alma. That's just teaching you that you have malkut. But it's not considered pasul. So again, now we're back and forth as to whether or not you're able to ask this question. Now the question is back on. Eliminating, how do we know that matzah is required for mincha? Kid time it says matzah, pasul says matzah. Yachol matzah, maybe we just think matzah not required. Tumar tihiyah should be hakutu kiva'al chavah Torah made a requirement. Rachanam men v'men.